In 2005, a classic movie titled Constantine, starring Keanu Reeves, was released. After a year's hiatus, the supernatural detective is making a comeback in Constantine 2, and here's everything we know. Reeves reimagined the DC Comics character John Constantine, deviating from the usual blonde appearance and British accent. Despite mixed to negative reviews, the 2005 film grossed over $230 million globally. While hopes for a sequel dwindled, the movie gained a cult following over time. With Reeves' resurgence in John Wick, demand for Constantine 2 grew, leading to serious discussions and the official announcement of the long-awaited sequel. The upcoming installment is set to have an R rating, promising a darker and grittier take on the character.
And you were Constantine, the John Constantine, once.
Constantine faced challenges after the 2007 writer's strike, leading to the loss of rights for the character. Despite attempts to reclaim the rights over the years, obstacles persisted. Keanu Reeves, in an interview for John Wick, expressed uncertainty about the sequel's fate. However, recent news brings hope, as director Francis Lawrence, Keanu Reeves, and producer Akiva Goldsman are back on board. They are actively developing Constantine 2, aiming for an R-rated version that aligns with the character's darker comic book origins. In an interview with director Francis Lawrence, he provided an optimistic update on the status of Constantine 2. Due to the Writers Guild of America strike, the film's progress was temporarily halted. However, with the conclusion of the strike, Lawrence mentioned that the team is gearing up to resume work on Constantine 2's storyline. He expressed enthusiasm about the project, stating, "We're probably going to start getting back together after Thanksgiving and dig back in to try and crack it." Lawrence highlighted that despite changes in the DC leadership, they've secured some control and are actively exploring ideas for Constantine 2, marking the early stages of the project's development. The sequel's potential story is still under wraps, but fans speculate on exploring Constantine's battles with demonic forces, delving into Chaz's story, introducing iconic villains like Nurgle, and exploring side characters such as Angela and Papa Midnight. This version of Constantine 2 won't connect to the James Gunn and Peter Safran universe for DC. Despite past roadblocks, the creative team's persistence is exciting for fans. Updates on the supporting cast and more details about the film are expected in the coming months. The release target is late 2024, early to mid-2025. Share your thoughts in the comments whether you're excited about Constantine 2 or have different opinions on its continuation. Now, let's talk about why Constantine 2, being a DC Elseworlds movie, is good. Firstly, John Constantine's return to the big screen will come with an R rating, adding a darker tone to the character. While the prospect of Reeves joining the DC universe was intriguing, making it an Elseworlds project allows the DCU to introduce a more comic book accurate Constantine in the future, potentially starting with appearances in other projects like Swamp Thing and Justice League Dark. Moreover, being outside the confines of the DCU grants Constantine 2 greater creative freedom. This flexibility can lead to a more unique and explorative approach to the character and storyline, unbound by the continuity and established narratives of the broader DC cinematic universe. The decision to set Constantine 2 outside the DCU brings forth an intriguing challenge, particularly considering the elevated standards set by DC Studios co-CEO James Gunn for Elseworlds projects. Gunn has emphasized that movies under the Elseworlds label must surpass a high-quality bar, even more stringent than the one applied to DCU projects. This raises the stakes for Constantine 2, pushing director Francis Lawrence, lead actor Keanu Reeves, and screenwriter Akiva Goldsman to craft an exceptional and distinctive narrative to secure its production. The newfound creative freedom is already making an impact, as Lawrence has confirmed that Constantine 2 will be very rated R. This aligns with the original vision for the first Constantine film, which faced constraints with a PG-13 rating, but ultimately received an R rating for its intended tone. Without interference from DC Studios, Lawrence and the team can fully realize their vision for a John Constantine story, enhancing the anticipation for the long-awaited sequel. Connecting Constantine 2 with upcoming DC Universe movies like Superman Legacy might be practically impossible, and even if possible, may not align with James Gunn's vision for a more faithful adaptation of John Constantine in the new DCU. The focus of the updated DC universe is to portray characters, including Superman, in a manner truer to their comic book counterparts. Therefore, introducing a drastically different version of Constantine would likely be incongruent with this approach. The possibility of releasing Constantine 2 as an Elseworlds movie separate from the DCU exists, similar to the approach taken with the Joker and Batman sequels. However, Constantine 2 may not carry the same experimental or prestige appeal as those films, making its release challenging in the current cinematic landscape. Considering Constantine's lower popularity compared to iconic characters like Superman or Batman, sustaining multiple divergent takes simultaneously might be challenging for the character's brand. Additionally, the broader DC movie brand is facing challenges, even with well-received films, due to a perception issue. The success of movies like Superman Legacy is crucial for reversing this perception, and launching a film like Constantine 2, even as an accurate adaptation, may be more feasible when the DC movie brand is at its peak popularity. While Constantine 2 could potentially be released as an Elseworlds movie, it's suggested that the film may face challenges due to its perceived timing and the current state of the DC movie landscape. It's highly improbable to seamlessly integrate Constantine 2 into the continuity of upcoming DC Universe films like Superman Legacy. Even if it were possible, James Gunn's vision for the new DCU emphasizes a more faithful portrayal of John Constantine aligned with the comics. The overarching goal of the new DC Universe is to present characters like Superman in a traditional light distinct from the previous DC Extended Universe. Consequently, there needs to be more incentive to associate this universe with a significantly divergent and unrecognizable interpretation of Constantine. An alternative possibility is releasing Constantine 2 as an Elseworlds movie outside the DCU. This approach has been taken with sequels like The Joker and The Batman. However, these movies might be exceptions due to the success of their predecessors and their experimental, prestigious nature, qualities a sequel to 2005's Constantine may lack. This leaves Constantine 2 in a challenging position for release in the current movie landscape. Additionally, Constantine doesn't enjoy the same level of popularity as iconic characters like Superman, Batman, or Wonder Woman. His brand might struggle to sustain multiple divergent takes simultaneously, unlike Batman. The broader DC movie brand is also facing challenges, with even well-received films experiencing low box office returns due to the perception of being DC movies. While successes like Superman Legacy could reverse this perception over time, establishing heavy hitters is a priority for DC Studios before delving into characters like Hellblazer. While Constantine 2 may still be released as an Elseworlds movie, it appears to be a project past its prime. The 2005 Constantine movie, distinctively titled from the original Hellblazer comics, notably deviated from its source material in several ways. In the comics, John Constantine is a blonde English ruffian hailing from Liverpool, characterized more by his incredible magical knowledge than overt magical expertise. His grungy and unheroic outlook mirrors his comic book persona, where his damnation to hell is a consequence of his licentious behavior. However, the film adaptation introduced a dark-haired American version of Constantine with a less sarcastic demeanor. His occult ties and abilities were more explicitly portrayed, and his damnation stemmed from a heroic act, deviating significantly from the comics. Despite these changes, the movie version lacked the usual charm and wit associated with the comic book Constantine, missing the devilish charisma fans appreciated. The character in the film lacked the punk edge that defined his comic counterpart. And that's what concludes today's video. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for the next one.